So what I want to do in these 2 sessions that we have is to really look at the theory, this incredible attachment theory that we have, and find simple, practical ways for you to apply them in your work with people you work with and also with yourself. And what tends to happen then is people begin to slowly, it's not a quick fix, but slowly change these attachment patterns, the attachment style that they have, so they can have the relationships that they want. And that is probably what attachment theory is all about. Attachment theory talks about how we either distance ourselves, disconnect from people, or how we're anxiously trying to be involved out there in the world and get the love we want. We never really talk about it in that way in the theory, but that's what it's really about. Will you love me? Am I lovable? And how do I manage all that in between? So we're going to look at how our upsets or the reasons, the ruptures in our life and why they're linked to the theory and how they can be linked and shifted. And what's essential is, I think, is to begin looking at what protest is. And the reason I speak about that is that James Robertson, who was a social worker, and he was working in John Bowlby's clinic way back in the day. And he took a little old video camera and went into hospitals and started videoing these kids. And he was like, what is going on here? He's trying to figure out. These kids had a whole range of experiences, and he was trying to see what possibly this is. And Bowlby found this so interesting that he actually joined Robertson and they started writing a bunch of papers, and it became what we now know as separation distress. If we look at it, what they found is that when kids are first separated from their from their parents and put in a hospital, they actively protest. And by that, we mean they are running around looking for the attachment figure. They're vocal, they're loud, they're screaming, they're stamping their feet, they're doing all kinds of things actively trying to find this person and bring them back. They're protesting about the separation, that it's gone. And then what they began to see, there was a second phase when the kids weren't as active then. They were actually in a state of despair. The fact that the loved one, the attachment figure, wasn't coming back created this sense of despair. And what Bowlby and Robertson said at that point is, it's important not to see that as a good sign. Like they weren't adapting. Well, they were adapting, but it wasn't a positive adapting. It was a coping, it was a defense mechanism. They were starting to shut down. They no longer trusted that person would come back. And so the despair set in. And if that despair continued over time, they began to see a state they called detachment, where somebody is so disconnected that they can't re-engage even when the loved one comes back.